In the last 2 weeks, I've grown 4,000 followers from trial reels. So I wanted to share my strategy with you. But before I do, I wanted to mention how sometimes in business, or a lot of times, and maybe this is just me, but I wanted to share it anyways, your opinions and your strategy change. I published an episode on trial reels last year, and I talked all about how trial reels are not worth your time. And now I am here publishing an episode about how trial reels have grown my account by 4,000 followers. And I've posted now over 450 trial reels in 2026 alone. So this is me actually saying I was wrong. And trial reels are really, really great. And I've been having a lot of fun with them. And like I said, they've been growing my Instagram account. So, anyways, after 5 weeks of a new strategy, I feel like I finally cracked the code to growing with trial reels. So, here is my strategy. There are 7 things that I'm going to cover with you here. Number one, post 5 trial reels a day, Monday through Friday. I didn't say post 1 trial reel, I said 5. And yes, 5 is a lot, but the good news is you don't actually have to come up with 5 new concepts. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take one concept and tweak it 5 times. For me, this typically looks like either posting 5 of the exact same post, but with a different B roll in the background, or posting 5 of the same videos, like the same B roll video in the background and the same caption, but slightly tweaking the hook that's on screen. So maybe one of my hooks says 10 things that I stopped doing to stop making my business an emergency. And then the other hook that I might experiment with might say 10 things that I stopped doing to stop making my digital product based business an emergency. So same concept, but I'm slightly tweaking the words there to see which one performs well. And I spend a majority of my time focused on the text hook and optimizing that. And then the nice thing is that the data that I get from trial reels actually improves all of the content that I create, even my feed content. So posting with trial reels, obviously I'm growing with trial reels, but it is helping me to create better content for my feed, as well as even for emails and podcasts and everything. Like I feel like the data that I'm getting from trial reels is so juicy and so good that it's really improving every marketing avenue, marketing, I don't know why I can't think of that word right now. Marketing platform. I guess that would be the word. Marketing platform that I have in my business right now. And I recommend 5 per day because you will have a lot that flop. I still have a lot of trial reels that never break even 1,000 views, but in my set of 5 that I'm posting each day, I usually have one that is an outlier, the one that performs well. And then I build on that concept by posting it to my feed. And then I also am doing a little bit more. I'll share in point number 2, point number 3, a little bit more of like what I'm actually doing with that concept that performs well. But that's just a little sneak peek, so keep listening. Number 2, I only post B-roll with the exception of posting my talking reel of the day. So right now I've challenged myself on my feed to post a talking reel every single day except for on Sundays. And I will first post that talking reel to my trials, and then I'll post it to my feed. But outside of that, that is the only talking, like face to camera. Yeah, I guess face to camera talking head reel that I am posting into trials. All of the other reels that I'm posting into trial are all B-roll. B-roll is the only way that I can post trial reels in mass quantities. The B-roll is either a lot of text on screen all at once, or it's just a hook and then people read the caption for more information. So there's no like multiple clip B-roll reels that I'm personally posting, meaning like there's not like a video that goes for 3 seconds and there's another video that's on there for maybe like 0.5 seconds and then another video for like, I don't know, 4 seconds. Like I'm not posting B-roll that has multiple clips. It's all just one solid clip that's about 7 seconds long. And 7 seconds is about the average of all the B-rolls that I am posting into trial right now. Now, number 3, I hinted at this, but once you find something that works, what I am personally doing is I'm reposting it with tweaks like the background video. So I do that until it stops working. If I have one concept that works really well, I'll just keep taking that concept. So I'll take the exact hook and I'll just swap out that background video for the B-roll again until it stops working well. I actually have one right now that has collectively about 3.5 million views, and that's just from the last 2 weeks because I had one concept do really, really well. And then what I did is I just took that concept, I reposted it with a different background video, and then I did that multiple times. Those all performed really well. And then I actually ended up slightly tweaking the concept because I was like, I wonder if this concept actually is what's really working really well and not necessarily just, pretty background videos or whatever. And so I slightly tweaked the concept as well, and it performed well again. And so now I actually have multiple concepts that have stemmed from this one concept, still around the same topic, but just slightly different ways of like wording it. And that has worked really well for me. And what that looks like on the screen is it's just like a bunch of text on the screen. So it's not like a short hook that's like one sentence, maybe 6 words. It's actually a bunch of text on the screen. People sit there and they read it, which creates a higher watch time, and a higher watch time means that it means that the algorithm is then going to push it out to more people. So that is kind of the strategy behind that. But what's nice is once you have found a concept that works well, you can just keep tweaking it and tweaking that. So once you posted enough trial reels, you actually don't even need new concepts every single day. You can just keep working with the concepts that are converting really well and just either slightly tweaking the text that's on the screen or keep swapping out that background video. Number 4 is ask for the follow. And this is really, really, really important because what I have recognized, and this is what I was really struggling with at the beginning of this year, is I would have these trial reels that would do really well in terms of views, but they would bring in like 1 follower. So I would have a trial reel that has like, I don't know, like 50,000 views. And I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. Then I go into my insights and it's like, 2 people have followed you. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like 2 people have followed me. So this one right here is really, really important. Yes, you want to ask them for the follow. The call to action statement is really important. And there are 3 different things that I'm doing with my trial reels. I post a comment and I will pin that comment. And in that comment, it basically just tells people a little bit about me and about my Instagram account, a little bit about the things that I value. So I mentioned my key phrase, which you can't see if you're on YouTube, but I'm pointing at it. It's above my head. That's on my wall, which is stacking income, stacking memories. And I basically just say, like, if this is your vibe, then hit follow. And I've had a lot of people who have interacted with that comment. Like, I can see the people have like liked that comment. I've had people who have replied to that comment. So that really helps a lot. And again, you want to pin that in there. And I want to say it's maybe like 3 or 4 sentences. Like, it's not like a huge, huge, huge paragraph, but it's like, hey, if you're seeing this, it's a trial reel, my name's Maya. This is a little bit about my business. I am all about stacking income, stacking memories. If that's your vibe, hit follow, something along those lines. B is so I'm also doing this alongside the pinned comment, is if I have a direct message automation on the post, like let's just say that I'm leading them to a lead magnet that I have or something along those lines, I will tell them that they have to follow to get the message. So it'll say, comment the word golden and I will send you the link to my freebie, and make sure that you're following me so that you get this direct message. And that is 100% true, because if they are following you, that direct message won't end up in their requests folder. It'll end up in their primary or general folder. And there actually is some issues between, I say ManyChat, it's not ManyChat's issue, it's Meta's issue, between the connection of Meta and ManyChat, where if someone isn't following you, sometimes they actually won't get that direct message. And so if you ask people to follow you to get something that they really want, they're going to be more likely to follow you. And then also that makes sure that they're getting, if it's a lead magnet, you want them to get that lead magnet because then they're in your email list. So anyways, that's another thing that I do. Now, if I do not have a direct message automation set up on the post, which I would say majority of my trial reels don't have a direct message automation set up on the post, because of what I'm going to talk about in number 5 here in just a second. But if it does have a direct message automation, then I'll ask to follow. If it doesn't, then I will say something more so along the lines of, like, I'll have my caption and then I'll say, if this is your vibe, then hit follow. Or if you want to learn more about X topic, hit follow. Or if you want to see, the second part in this series, hit follow. Like, so I'm asking them to hit follow, but I'm giving them a specific reason to hit follow. So those are all my call to action statements, are all something along the lines of follow. Even if it is like comment, this specific word to get this thing, I'm still adding in the little call to action statement that says follow to make sure that you get the direct message automation. And that, again, is really, really important. So if you're getting a lot of views on your trial reels, but they're not converting into follows, that is something that I highly recommend trying out. Number 5 is post outside of your niche. And I am not going to lie, I'm a little bit hesitant to share this because it really goes against everything that I've ever known, ever taught. But it is working really, really well, not just for me, but also some of my other creator friends that are in other niches. And so I'm not going to gatekeep. That's not what I'm about. I want to just give you all the tea here. When it comes to trial reels, I post mainly broad topic content to trials. So not niche content. I'm not talking about like Instagram growth. I'm not talking about scaling your business. I'm not talking about selling digital products. Now, these broad topics are not totally random though. They're not like, oh, I'm talking about like being a chef and like, I don't know, like they're not like super random out of the box things. They're tied back to things that are in my personal life and also my values, and just topics that I know that my ICA will still be living inside of. So if I have a reel that reaches, let's just say 50,000 people in this specific broad topic, I know that like my ICA is still going to be inside of that group. So for example, my broad topics are things like homesteading or slow living or giving my kids a 90s childhood, being an eldest daughter, because I am an eldest daughter. So like creating a lot of relatable content around that. And also things like not using your kids as an excuse, but instead bringing them alongside of you. So I talk about like working out and like, instead of, what is one that I posted recently to trials? It was a bunch of different, and this actually kind of goes against what I was saying, I think in point number 2, where I was talking about how I don't use a bunch of different clips inside of a trial reel. This is the one that I've done recently where I did use several different clips, but it was a few different like clips that were, I want to say like 2 seconds long. And it was me wearing like one of my kids as I was working out or like doing different things. And I said in the hook, like, don't wear your excuses, wear your kids, or something like, or wear your kids, don't wear your excuses, or something like that, because like baby wearing with like the carrier or whatever. So that's another example of something that's more of a broad topic, but I know that again, my ideal client is still going to be able to watch that and they are going to come into my Instagram account. And one thing that's really, really important is you want to still have a very optimized Instagram account, meaning that your bio, your highlights, your pinned content, everything is still very niche when it comes to my Instagram account. If you look at my Instagram account, there are no broad topics there. It is very niche, and that is very strategic because I don't want to bring in people who are not my ideal client. And the way that I weed out people who are not my ideal client is by having that very optimized profile. And so even though I might be reaching, let's just say, 50,000 people with this reel, I still might get 100 or 200 follows, but I know that those people are aligned because they came over to my profile and they saw everything about my Instagram account. They saw that I do help creators scale past $5,000 months. They see all of my different highlights and the different freebies, and that I have a business podcast. They see my pinned content where I'm talking about digital products and making money in my own journey and whatnot. They see all of the niche content and they're not going to hit follow unless they're an aligned follower. But again, I have to be optimized. I have to be very clear about who my Instagram account is for in order to make sure that when I'm doing this broad topic strategy where I'm casting this wide net, that my optimized profile is bringing in the correct people, if that makes sense. And so that is how I make sure that I'm not bringing in unaligned followers, even though I have more of this broad strategy. And this is how I got out of the 200 views jail. So if you're in that right now with trial reels, I highly recommend testing this out. And it is the biggest reason that I've been able to grow with trial reels in the past 2 weeks. Like I said, I posted 750 trial reels in 2026 with about 700 of those. I would say over 700 of those trial reels, or sorry, over the 700, like if I'm looking at the 700 of them collectively, I say I left out 50 because 50 is like what I would say I've posted over the last few weeks here. But looking at those 700 that I've posted with a more specific strategy of like just posting the niche content to trials, I have probably gained maybe 3,000 or 4,000 collectively over those 700 trial reels. Whereas from 50 trial reels with this broad strategy, I've gained 4,000 plus even. I'm continuing to grow obviously every single day from these. So that's another thing. And one thing that I should have added in as one of the bullet points here out of the 7 things that I'm talking about, but I'll just say it here, is I'm not taking these reels out of trials. So they just continue to live inside of trial. And so I have all 750 or however many, I posted at this point, all of them are still in trial. If I ever want to post something to my feed, I will duplicate it and then I'll post the duplicate to my feed. And that is what number 6 is all about, which is posting trials. You want to first post them to trials and then to your feed if it's going to make it to your feed. Now, that doesn't mean that every trial reel has to be posted to your feed, but if you have the intention of being able to post it, or you want to be able to post it to your feed eventually, make sure you post it to trials first, because if you post it to your feed first and then you post it to trials, what will end up happening is that little notification that says something like, hey, this looks similar to something that you've already posted, like we're limiting your reach. If you posted trials at all, you've probably seen that notification. And the way that you can get around that is you post to trials first and then you post to your feed. So that's just a little thing that I want to share with you, because I did that for the like 700 of my reels, trial reels. I was posting to trial first, and then I would bring it over to feed, and I never had any issue. And then randomly, I don't know why, but when I started to do this more broad strategy, I was bringing over some of my like more humor type reels, and I would post them first to my feed, and then I would post them to trial rails. And I was running into this issue of it saying, "Hey, we're going to limit your reach." And I was like, "Why is it like, why is my reach being limited? Like, what the heck is going on?" I posted 700 and I never had any issues. And so I posted a reel about it, and I was like, "Give me your tips. Like, how are you getting around this?" And someone said, "Post to trials first and then post to your feed." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's genius. Why did I not realize that that was like how I've gotten around this the whole time?" And so I went back to doing that, and I've never had any issues since. So just make sure if you're having that issue that you're posting to trial first and then you're posting to your feed. And as you are testing with trials, so doing the 5 different concepts, make sure that they are different enough, because if they're not different enough, then you're going to also get that little notification. And so that's why with the hook, I'm tweaking, some words there, or I'm swapping out the background video. And also a side note too, with trials is you can now schedule out trial reels. So just know that that's an option. If you're like, "Hey, I cannot sit down and post out 5 trials per day, but I could batch out the content and schedule it out," that's also something that you could do. All right, number 7, and lastly, is posting time. I was asked about this when I was talking about my trial reel strategy, and she was like, "I would be so curious to know, like, are you posting at any specific time of day?" And truthfully, I probably should be a little bit more strategic about this, because I do know that there is a benefit to posting at a good posting time, which for me is typically in the mornings. I see that with my feed content. My feed content performs a lot better when I post it in the morning than when I post it at night. Obviously, posting something is better than not posting at all. And so I know that that's probably going to translate also to trial reels. But for full transparency, I have not been posting at any particular time. It has been very random. I've literally had probably a good handful of, like, I would say 25, 30 different trial reels that I posted even at like 3 o'clock in the morning while I'm up nursing my baby. And so there's no rhyme or rhythm to posting time, and I've still been able to grow. So just hopefully that's reassuring of like, you don't have to post at a specific time of day. If you're looking for the optimal way to show up, where like, "Hey, if I'm going to put in the time and energy to do this, like I want to do it all the right ways," I would say probably paying a little bit more attention to posting time would be good. But I think with trial reels too, it's an experiment. And when you treat it that way, it also helps me too. Like when I mentally go into it, like, this is an experiment, like this could go well, this could not go well. And just learning from that. But with posting time too, like I said, with my feed, I see the difference. So I would probably also see a difference with posting at a more consistent time with trials, but it's just not something that I've experimented with yet. I hope this episode has been helpful for you. And if you have any questions about trial reels, don't hesitate to reach out.